I never imagined I'd find myself tangled in a suburban nightmare straight out of a crime novel. But life has a way of throwing curveballs when you least expect it. My name's Daniel Harper, and I've been living in Willow Creek Estates for 4 years, a picture-perfect neighborhood with tree-lined streets, spotless sidewalks, and a homeowners association that ruled with an iron fist. Most of us kept our heads down and followed the rules, not because we loved them, but because it was easier than dealing with the fallout. That is, until Evelyn Carter, our HOA president, decided my house wasn't just my home, it was her personal battleground. It all started with a pergola. I've been dreaming of building one in my backyard for years, a simple wooden structure with climbing vines to shade my patio during the brutal summer months. I did everything by the book, got the city permits, submitted detailed plans to the HOA's architectural committee, and even included a sketch of how it'd blend seamlessly with my craftsman-style home. The committee, three level-headed folks who, thankfully, weren't Evelyn, approved it unanimously. I thought I was in the clear. Construction began, and by midweek, the pergola was half-finished, its cedar beams gleaming under the afternoon sun. Then Evelyn returned from her 2-week Caribbean cruise. I was sipping coffee in my kitchen on a Thursday morning when I heard its sharp, staccato knock that could only belong to one person. Evelyn had a way of announcing herself that screamed entitlement, like she was the queen of Willow Creek, and we were all her lowly subjects. I set my mug down, braced myself, and opened the door. She stood there, tanned and furious, in a pristine white blazer and skirt combo, her auburn hair pulled into a tight chignon. "No hello. No, how are you?" She launched right in. "That monstrosity in your backyard needs to go, Daniel. Today." I blinked, caught off guard by her venom. "Good morning, Evelyn. Nice tan. The pergola's been approved by the committee." "About the paperwork." "I don't care what the committee said," she snapped, cutting me off. Her green eyes flashed with indignation. "I didn't approve it. I was away, and they clearly didn't consult me. That thing is a blight on this neighborhood's aesthetic. It's lowering property values as we speak." I took a slow breath, trying to keep my cool. The bylaws say the committee's decision is final unless appealed within 10 days. It's been 2 weeks. And honestly, Evelyn, it's a pergola, not a junkyard. Her lips pursed into a thin line, and she crossed her arms. "The timeline doesn't apply when I'm unavailable. As president, I have veto power, and I need to inspect it up close. From your property." I almost choked on my own disbelief. "You're not coming into my backyard to inspect anything. That's not in the bylaws, and you know it." Her gaze hardened. "We'll see about that. You'll get a formal violation notice by tomorrow. And don't think this is over." She spun around, her heels clicking against the pavement as she stormed off, already typing furiously on her phone. I shut the door, shaking my head. Typical Evelyn, petty, controlling, and convinced she was untouchable. I figured that'd be the end of it. A strongly worded letter, maybe a fine I could fight at the next HOA meeting. I was wrong. Dead wrong. Friday passed uneventfully. I worked from home, tweaking a presentation for a client, the pergola's progress humming along in the background as contractors hammered away. By Saturday morning, it was nearly done, and I felt a flicker of pride looking at it through my kitchen window. I had plans to meet my buddy Mike for lunch at a diner downtown, so I showered, threw on a polo, and headed out around 11 o'clock. I locked the door behind me, double-checked out of habit, and drove off. I was gone maybe 2.5 hours. Mike and I split a plate of wings, caught up on life, and laughed about how HOA drama was the suburban equivalent of medieval power struggles. When I pulled back into my driveway, though, something felt off. The air seemed too still. My front door looked untouched, but a prickle of unease crawled up my spine. Call it gut instinct or years of watching too many thrillers, but I knew something wasn't right. I slipped my key into the lock and stepped inside. The faint scent of lavender and bergamot hit me immediately, Evelyn's signature perfume, cloying and unmistakable. My stomach dropped. I stood frozen in the foyer, ears straining. Then I heard it, a faint creak from upstairs, followed by the soft thud of footsteps. My pulse kicked into overdrive. I pulled out my phone, thumb hovering over 911, and edged toward the staircase. "Who's there?" I called, my voice steady despite the adrenaline pumping through me. "Show yourself." The footsteps stopped. For a heartbeat, there was silence. Then Evelyn appeared at the top of the stairs, cool as you please, holding a digital camera. She didn't even flinch, just started descending like she owned the place. "What the hell are you doing in my house?" I barked, my shock giving way to fury. She reached the bottom step and fixed me with a look of pure condescension. "As HOA president, I have a duty to investigate violations. You refused my inspection, so I had to take matters into my own hands. I'm documenting that eyesore in your backyard." I stared at her, dumbfounded. "You broke into my home. That's not investigating, that's a crime. How did you even get in?" She waved a hand dismissively, dangling a key between her manicured fingers. "The association keeps a lockbox for emergencies. All board members have access. I didn't break anything, I used my authority." My blood ran cold. The lockbox. I'd forgotten about Eater relic from when the neighborhood had a rash of burst pipes a few years back. It was supposed to be for plumbers or firefighters, not for Evelyn to play vigilante. "This isn't an emergency," I said, my voice low and tight. "This is breaking and entering. I'm calling the police." Her smug facade cracked for a split second, but she rallied fast. "Don't be dramatic, Daniel. I'm an authorized agent of the HOA. I have every right." "No, you don't." I cut in, already dialing. "Stay right there." As I spoke to the dispatcher, "Yes, someone's broken into my home. She's still here." Evelyn's composure started to unravel. She clutched her camera tighter, muttering about ungrateful residents and misunderstandings. When I told her the cops were on their way, she huffed, "This is ridiculous. I'm the president. I was doing my job. Breaking into my house isn't your job." I shot back. "It's illegal." The police arrived in under 10 minutes. Two officers, a tall guy with a buzz cut and a woman with a no-nonsense stare. I explained everything. The pergola, the approval, Evelyn's unhinged inspection. She kept interrupting, insisting her HOA status gave her carte blanche. The male officer's brow furrowed deeper with every word she said, while the woman officer Reyes, her badge read listened stone-faced. "Ma'am," Reyes finally said, "being on an HOA board doesn't let you enter private property without consent or court order. That's not how the law works." "But the bylaws," Evelyn started, her tone dripping with superiority. "No bylaw overrides state law on breaking and entering," Reyes interrupted. "Using a key you weren't authorized to use for this purpose still makes it a legal entry." I remember my security system Thena setup the previous owner had installed, complete with a doorbell camera I'd never bothered to check. "Hold on," I said, pulling up the app on my phone. Sure enough, there was footage. Evelyn fumbling with a ring of keys at my front door, trying 3 before 1 clicked. Time-stamped 11:15 a.m. I showed it to the officers. Their expressions hardened. "Ma'am," the male officer said, "turn around and place your hands behind your back." Evelyn's face went white. "You're arresting me? Do you have any idea who I am?" "Yes, ma'am," he replied, pulling out cuffs. "And you're under arrest for breaking and entering. Your title doesn't change the law." As they read her rights, she cycled through denial, rage, and finally a flicker of panic. The neighbors, drawn by the flashing lights, peeked out from behind curtains or lingered on porches, whispering. I gave my statement, handed over the footage, and promised to follow up at the station. They led Evelyn to the squad car, her head high despite the cuffs, like she was still in charge. The fallout came fast. By Monday, my inbox had an email about an emergency HOA meeting scheduled for Wednesday night. The subject line, addressing recent events. Word had spread like wildfire. Evelyn Carter, the tyrant of Willow Creek, hauled off in handcuffs. I wasn't the only one she'd terrorized over the years, it turned out. People had stories. Fines for unapproved birdhouses, threats over slightly overgrown hedges, even a rumor she'd once tried to ban a kid's lemonade stand for commercial activity. The meeting room at the community center was packed, standing room only. The vice president, Tom Gwynn, a quiet guy who'd always seemed overshadowed by Evelyn, took the podium. As you've likely heard, he began, Evelyn Carter was arrested Saturday for illegally entering a resident's home. She's been charged with breaking and entering and is out on bail pending trial. The room buzzed. Tom raised a hand for quiet. The board's here to vote on her removal as president. This is a serious breach of trust, and we need to act. Evelyn sat in the front row, her usual polished fraying hair loose, blouse wrinkled. When Tom offered her the floor, she stood, chin up, and faced the crowd. "This is a gross overreaction," she said, her voice trembling beneath its bravado. "I've spent 6 years keeping this neighborhood pristine. I was protecting our standards. The lockbox keys are for board use, not to break into homes," someone shouted. A ripple of agreement followed. Her cheeks flushed. "I've sacrificed for this community, and this is my thanks? You'll see what happens without me." The vote was a landslide 47-3 to remove her. As Tom read the tally, Evelyn's mask slipped. She grabbed her bag, stood, and spat. "You'll regret this. This place will crumble without me." She strode toward the door, but Tom's voice stopped her cold. "Evelyn, one more thing. The board's pursuing legal action to recover the $25,000 we'll spend on legal fees and replacing the lockbox system because of your actions. We're also turning over all evidence of your key misuse to the prosecutor." She froze, hand on the knob. For the first time, she had no retort. The weight of criminal charges, financial ruin hit her like a freight train. She pushed through the door and vanished into the night. The room exhaled. Conversations sparked about rebuilding the HOA-less tyranny, more transparency. I stayed quiet, still processing. Evelyn had ruled us through fear, but she'd overplayed her hand. Willow Creek wasn't hers anymore. It was ours. And for the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe in my own home. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.